Good morning, class. Today we'll discuss about the impact of Muslim leagues on the national movement and Lucknow pact. First, impact of the Muslim League on the national movement. The British welcomed the formation of the Muslim League. They supported the League to provide an opposition to the Congress. They won initially the support of the Muslims by asserting that the Muslim interests were different from those of the Hindus. Thus, policies of Muslim League to some extent weakened nationalist sentiments. But League's role in the beginning. The League had a separate entity. Initially, it stood apart from the national movement. It sought greater representation of Muslims in all services. So, as regards representation in assemblies, it wanted more seats than its numerical representation warranted. So its political activities were directed not so much against the foreign rulers as against the Congress. Its leaders belonging to the upper class had little in common with the Muslims, and they did not fight for the removal of their grievance. Secondly, government support to the League. With the help of the Viceroy Lord Minto, the Muslim League secured its demand for separate electorates. That is, the system of election to legislature which divides voters on the basis of religion, caste. Morley Minto reforms of 1909 provided separate electorates for Muslims whereby seats were reserved for the Muslims from where Muslims could vote for the Muslims candidate. So the provision for separate electorate in the Morley Minto reforms was intentionally incorporated to please the Muslim League and create a rift between the Muslim League and the Congress. So then the phase of rapprochement. Rapprochement means that is international affairs especially and establishment or resumption of harmonious relations. So from 1910 to 1913 in Muslim League politics, and some of its leaders realized that rapprochement the Congress was desirable. Several of this change in attitude. The British hostility to Turkey in the Turco-Italian War 1911 to 1912 and the Balkan Wars 1912 to 1913 made a large section of Muslim leaders critical of British policies. Secondly, the annulment of the partition of Bengal in 1911 was seen as detrimental to the interests of the Muslims in India. Thirdly, the younger sections of emerging Muslim leaders dislikes the loyalist politics of the Aligarh group and the leadership of big Nawabs and Jamindars. And fourthly, some young scholars influenced by the Deoband school of Muslim studies were inspired by nationalist sentiments. Among them, the most prominent were Maulana Ghulam Azad, Habibur Rahman, Hakim Azmal Khan, and Mazar ul Haq. Then Congress and the League. When the British government acted against the Turkish interests and supported the cause of the Balkan countries, the Indian Muslims stood up and launched the Khilafat movement against the British. So the Congress cooperated with them, and the Khilafat issue was included as one of the demands of the non-cooperation. A pact which is known as Lucknow Pact was signed. So the Lucknow Pact referred to the joint scheme of political reforms agreed to by Muslim League in 1916 regarding the structure of government in India and the relationship between the Hindus and the Muslims. So according to this pact, the Congress accepted the concept of communal electorate, which subsequently added to the communal bitterness. The partition of the country in communal lines. The communal divide continued in 1930. The idea of two nation states was born, and in the 1940 session of the League at Lahore, Jinnah put forward his two-nation theory. Thus, two-nation theory, that is India and Pakistan. Thus, despite a severe opposition from Gandhiji, the country towards the partition. So the communal riots broke out in the country, and in 1947 a separate country, Pakistan, came in existence. Then Lucknow Pact. It is December 1916. Lucknow Pact agreement made by the Indian National Congress headed by Maratha leader Bal Gangadhar Tilak and the All India Muslim League led by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. It was adopted by the Congress at its Lucknow session on December 29 and by the League on December 31, 1916. The meeting at Lucknow marked the reunion of the moderate and the radical wings of the Congress of the Government of India and with the relation of the Hindus and the Muslim communities. So then what are the circumstances leading to the Lucknow Pact? First, international events. So during 1912 and 1913, Turkish Ottoman Empire had to fight the Balkan powers. The British policy during the Balkan Wars was not sympathetic to Turkey. So this was regarded as the Caliph or the religious head of Muslims. Moreover, the Muslim holy places were situated within the Turkish Empire. In the First World War, Britain was fighting against Turkey. So this caused a wave of pro-Turkey and pro-Caliph or Khilafat sentiments amongst the Muslims. They felt that the British were pro-Christian and anti-Muslim. The change of attitude of the Muslims towards the British supports the Congress in their efforts to gain self-government in India. Then national events. Certain important national events changed the attitude of the Muslim League. Firstly, the partition of Bengal was cancelled. Secondly, nationalism Azad and the Ali brothers took advantage of this opportunity and spread nationalist ideas among the Muslims, which favored self-government. Thirdly, Tilak was released from jail in the year 1914. And lastly, under the Seditious Meetings Act, the British government arrested some Muslim leaders. All these events brought the Congress and the Muslim change in objectives of the Muslim League. In the initial years of its existence, Muslim League has support of the British government as one of its official objectives. However, in 1913, the League constitution was amended to include a system of self-government under the aegis of the British Crown as the ideal of the League. So this unity of interests and objectives, coupled with the efforts of Annie Besant and Bal Gangadhar Tilak, brought the Congress and League together. Then compromise between the Congress. Annie Besant worked tirelessly to reunite the two wings of the Congress, the early nationalists and the assertive nationalists. Tilak rejoined the Congress in the year 1916 and played a pivotal role in resolving the issues between the Congress and the Muslim League. Then, terms of the Lucknow Pact. The Lucknow Pact was an agreement reached between the Indian National Congress and the Muslim League at a joint session of both the parties held in Lucknow in December 1916. Through the pact, the two parties agreed to allow representation to religious minorities in the provincial legislature.